No, soup, fun fact, is like my mom's favorite food.
Oh.
So I feel like learning soup for me was like a necessity to be being her daughter. Because she spent a lot of money on soup, I'm not gonna lie. But we're starting off with a really nice soup that's kind of like a mixture between a soup, kind of sort of a stew. It's totally delish. We are making my squash and chickpea soup. It's really tasty. Yeah. It's got a ton of really warming flavors, really nice. Now the first thing we've got here is a big old pile of vegetables. I've got one butternut squash that I've peeled, I've taken the seeds out, and I have diced up. And then I've also got one big red onion. If you don't have a red onion, you could totally do this with a yellow onion. I'm just cutting that into nice thin wedges. You could also chunk this if you want, but when I'm eating soup, I want texture. I don't just want, sometimes I do like a smooth soup, but if there is texture, I want texture.
Oh yeah.
So having like different cuts on things is a really easy way just to get that. So again, wedges and cubes, we're good to go. Now I'm gonna show you a hack that took me way too long to learn. And that is how to get all of these vegetables onto this tray very, very quickly. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna nestle this tray right on up, and then you just shove it. Honestly, I'm mortified with how long this took me to figure out. You know what you're doing and you're like doing the scoop and the over? No, just shove it and you're good to go.
That's the express way.
100% the express way and you're good to go. All right, now I'm gonna add a little bit of oil onto there just to get things going, and then I'm gonna season that with salt and pepper. Now, I hear maybe some people thinking, Mary, you're making soup, why is there a sheet pan? This doesn't make any sense, because usually soup is made in a pot. Very, very good point. Viewers, but I really like adding a little bit of roasted flavor because it gives you a different texture. It's a drier heat, so it gives you a little bit more cooked down, a little bit more golden brown, really, really tasty. So again, salt and pepper onto those veg. Give that a little bit of a toss just to kind of coat and combine. And then I want to pop these into a 400-degree oven for about 30 to 35 minutes. That's going to give you a nice, delicious roast on there. Get them nice and tender and easy to pop into that pot. It's also so the veg don't get nice and waterlogged, so it'll be good. Now I forgot, I got to go to my freezer. You know, soup's best friend. The coldest part of your house, hopefully. So in my freezer, I have got a couple of ingredients I'm gonna add in. The first one, I've got some greens. I like buying my kale frozen because sometimes you're just not gonna eat that whole thing of kale.
Right. You don't want to prep the kale.
You don't want to prep it.
So good.
Listen, the freezer, you don't have to massage this kale because the freezer did the work for you. So that is good. Now, if you didn't want to use kale, you could totally use any other sort of leafy green. But I also have my ginger, which I always keep in the freezer.
Smart.
Makes it really, really easy to actually grate and get into your food, and you never end up with the like fruit bowl of that thing, and you're like, is that a shrunken hand? What is that? No, it's just ginger, but if you keep it in the freezer, it's not gonna do that. So I've got a pot here over about medium heat, and into there I'm gonna go in with about 2 teaspoons of olive oil. Just a little bit, just to kind of get things going. Now we've got the squash and the onion in the oven. Now I'm gonna add in some chickpeas. So I've got a can of drained and rinsed chickpeas here, and I'm gonna go into the pot with those. That's gonna give them a little bit of color, a little bit of texture, and just kind of give them a bit like less of a canny kind of feel. But now I'm gonna add in my flavor boosters. So the first thing I need is 3 cloves of garlic. That's gonna go right on into that pot.
It's gonna fight those colds as well, Mary.
Oh yeah. Anytime I'm feeling sick, my garlic consumption goes way up.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe I think a vampire's gonna get me, maybe not, I don't know. So I've got those garlic cloves right in there, and then I'm also gonna add in my ginger. Now for the ginger, you can do anywhere from 3 to 4 tablespoons. I like a lot of ginger in my soup, and I like using a microplane or a rasp to get it in. When you freeze it, you don't have to peel it because the outside peel gets really nice and tender. Just give it a scrub before you put it into the freezer. Now, Andrea Bucket.
Yes, Mary.
Do you want to fight?
We have a ginger fight.
We have a ginger fight. Okay, so I like doing this and microplaning it in. Now, you prefer another method. What's your method?
I do because I enjoy the process of chopping, so I'll actually julienne and then mince it.
Oh, yeah.
But it's like, it's my zen, I know, but it's my zen space.
I get that. That's me with chopping mushrooms or having cherry tomatoes. I have made people sit and watch me have cherry tomatoes for like 25 minutes.
I like it.
It's very, very good. Okay, so I'll allow it.
But this is a great method.
It is, literally. Great.
Great.
Nicely done. All right, so I've got that ginger in there. It's really nice and bright and fresh and a little bit spicy. So into there, I'm also gonna go in with my spices. So the first thing I need is about 2 to 3 teaspoons of curry powder. I'm using a medium curry powder. If you have spicy, go for it. But I'm gonna go in with that. 1, 2, I'm gonna go in with 3. I like that flavor. Very, very good. Then I'm gonna go in with 1.5 teaspoons of turmeric. That's gonna give you that bright, almost like chicken noodle soup from a packet vibe.
Exactly.
So again, feeling healthy, feeling good. Now I'm gonna go also in with a teaspoon of some cumin, which is nice and lemony and smoky. We love cumin.
Yeah, what a fave.
Cumin on everything.
Yes, it's so good, especially chickpeas and cumin. I'm also going in with half a teaspoon of coriander. Ground coriander is actually the seeds of cilantro, but if you don't like cilantro, you might like coriander. It's lemony.
Yes. Totally different flavor.
Totally different flavor. Now I'm also gonna go in with a little bit of some cayenne pepper. I'm going in with about half a teaspoon. You can do less if you're feeling it. Give that a stir, and you wanna toast those spices for about 30 seconds. But now I'm gonna go in with my favorite flavor shortcut, and that is a can of tomato paste.
Nice.
One whole can, right in, gives this like low and slow cooked flavor, and I did not have to do anything. But Andrea Bucket, what are we gonna do with this tomato paste?
Well, if you're using the whole can, you're using the whole can. Is that
You're
what
using the whole
saying?
can.
Oh, I'm sorry, I missed it.
Yeah.
Missed the cue. You have to cook that down.
Yes.
Yeah. Because then it gets rid of the tinny flavor.
The tinny flavor. Just
Yeah.
give it about 30 seconds to a minute, and that tinny flavor will just kind of cook off. So while that's doing its thing, looking absolutely
Smells
beautiful.
good. Smells
I know,
so
right?
good.
I know, right?
Spices.
I'm very pumped
Next
about
level.
this. So much flavor so fast. Now we've got some little bits kind of sticking to the bottom. So I'm gonna deglaze this with just a splash of my broth. I've got about 4 cups of vegetable broth here. Give that a good stir just to kind of get everything off the bottom. And now I'm gonna go in with the rest of those 4 cups of broth. But then to give this a creamy note, I'm also going with a can of coconut milk. Now, yes. Now you want to use a can. You don't want to use the stuff in the like resealable pack that you get in the fridge section. That's too thin.
Yeah, we're talking full fat.
Listen to the ladies. They know what's up. They know what's up.
When you open the tin, you want that nice thick cream sitting at the top. That's how
Exactly.
you
All right. That is looking beautiful. I'm also going to toss in some of this kale. Now, if you're using fresh, I would go with about
Kitchen shears, Mary. Kitchen shears.
kitchen shear. I don't have them on me. There you go. There you go. Now, if you want, you could use fresh leafy greens, and I use about 3 cups. I'm going with the frozen, so I'm going to go with about 2. So I'm going to add those right on in, just to give me some green. Again, I love a freezer kale because it gives you all the flavor and color. But now I'm going to go grab those veg. Now, I've got those roasting away in my oven, getting nice and tender. And what I'm gonna do, this is where you get to decide if you want a soup, if you want a stew, if you want it somewhere in between. I have got those vegetables, and what I'm gonna do is grab a fork. I'm gonna mash about half, or as much of that squash as I want, because there's a good amount of starch in there. That's gonna thicken up this soup beautifully, make it absolutely beautiful, creamier and totally delish. Obviously, the onions aren't gonna mash up. But again, if you wanted it soupy, dump it all in as is. Thicker, mash up more of that squash. So I'm just gonna take this, I'm gonna land this in here, just scrape it all in. We've got that roasted flavor. Does this not smell amazing?
That smells delightful.
I am so excited about this soup. Okay, just getting it in. This is the hardest part of the recipe.
And squash is so inexpensive right now.
really
so
is.
It's a great way to use it up.
It really, really is. All right, that is looking, honestly, like a stone cold stunner. You've got all the flavor, little bit of lemon juice, just for a bit of brightness right at the tail end. Will just bring life to this. Looking stunning. And then all you need to do to serve this up, give it a stir. Cook that until that kale is nice and tender. Mine's looking good. Bring it on over. Yeah, not too hot. We got this, we got this. And I am going to land this beautiful soup into my bowl. Now, I'm all about sprinkles, even when I'm having soup. So just pop that soup in. Look at all those chunks.
It's a chunky monkey.
Oh, it's a chunky monkey.
That's so good.
Onto there, a little bit of some yogurt for a little bit of sauce and creaminess. Some sliced up or quartered cherry tomatoes for a bit of freshness.
Love that.
And then a little bit of fresh cilantro on top.
Gourmet,
That-
Berg.
Hey, Mary here. What did you think? Drop your comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more of the good stuff.